Hi, Chris Rogers here from Sensible, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of installing Piccolo AI onto your local PC or server using code available freely for download from Sensible's GitHub site. Now, Piccolo AI is Sensible's open source variant of our popular cloud-based subscription service, which allows developers to rapidly create machine learning sensing algorithms that run autonomously on IoT and edge embedded devices. Our open source initiative was recently launched to build broad developer interest in using and contributing to our baseline AutoML technology and offering embedded developers a highly productive end-to-end workflow for creating, managing, and deploying accurate ML-driven sensing algorithms. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so our very first step in this process will be to head over to the Sensible GitHub site for Piccolo, and we'll go to the Piccolo repository, which is located at github.com/sensible/Piccolo, spelled Piccolo. We see a typical GitHub repo here. All the source files are available. And as customary, we have a README file that explains the project and also has the install instructions that we're going to follow here. For those users that are simply interested in first experiencing the workflow for Sensible's toolkit, we would actually suggest the easiest way to do so is to go over to our cloud subscription site. If you look under plans, you'll note we have a free trial plan. And the benefit of this is that you don't actually need to install anything locally on your machine. If you want to experience the AutoML model building, you can do so using our cloud service. So that can be started by clicking under free trial. You sign in your email and account details, provide a password and create an account. And from there, you can go through the getting started process and utilize the free tier of our paid cloud plan, which is fully supported and comes with email support, a knowledge base site, and various upgrade tiers if you're looking for more capability. But what we're going to focus on today is the open source variant of our AutoML engine that you can install locally and how to go through that process. So we're going to pick up in the README guide from this point here, talking about running Piccolo AI locally. So as a first step, we need to install some prerequisite software. I'm going to go through this process with this clean build system here that doesn't have any of the prerequisites, so we'll actually step through each of these. First is getting the Windows subsystem for Linux installed. So we're going to do that. That's going to be a dependency for getting Docker up and running, and we suggest that the easiest way to deploy this is to do it through a Docker container. So we're going to install Docker and run it from within a Docker container. Let's get started with that. And we'll move to the first step, which is to get the Windows subsystem for Linux installed on my Windows 11 based laptop here.
To install the Windows Linux subsystem, we'll follow the link that are provided in the Piccolo AI instructions. Clicking here. And the description under Microsoft site is basically to set up a PowerShell window and enter the command WSL install. This needs to be done as an administrator, so we'll go ahead and do that now. PowerShell. Run it as administrator. We'll say yes, and WSL install. Yes, we want to install that, and this will take a few minutes. It's installing the Ubuntu distribution. That's the default, and we'll stick with that. And it says it's complete, and now we just need to reboot for that to go into effect. We'll exit here, and we'll reboot our system and pick up from there. Okay, we've just finished rebooting our system, and because this is the first time that we're using the Linux subsystem, it's asking to create an account. So I'll go ahead and give it my username. It'll ask me for a password. Make sure it's the same. And I've successfully installed the WSL2 environment within Windows. So from here, we'll go back to our install guide. And pick up from where we left off. So we've installed the WSL2 backend. Now we need to install and start Docker and Docker Compose. So we'll follow the link here, and we'll install Docker Engine. Installing the Docker Engine under the Ubuntu Linux distribution is a somewhat more elegant way than using Docker Desktop for Windows. Either approach could work. I'm going to show the process for installing the Docker Engine directly within the WSL2 Ubuntu environment. So let's start with Ubuntu, and we'll do some basic housekeeping first, starting with making sure that we have a clean and up-to-date version of Linux. So we will do a sudo apt update. It's going to make sure that I am in fact a sudo user, and then we'll update our distribution to the latest. We'll also do a sudo apt upgrade. So we've also cleared another hurdle in confirming that the network connectivity under the WSL2 environment works. So we can proceed on to doing the Docker installation itself. The first step in that process, now that we've got a clean and known good installation, is to go in and do some of the prerequisites dependencies. We'll issue this command here for the certificates. Then we'll set some temporary OS specific variables and make sure that apt will trust the repo. Then we'll add and update the repo information so that we can use it in the future using this command. And with all of those prerequisite steps done, then we can actually go and install the Docker Engine and client tools. So we'll issue this command. To prevent us from having to always invoke Docker as a sudo user, we'll add our user to the Docker group. So we'll do that by issuing this command, replacing user with our username. Okay, so then at this point we will start the Dr. daemon. That service is now running. We can close this window out. We'll start up a new window. And we'll just confirm that Docker is working and connecting to the socket appropriately. So we'll run this trivial hello world. And it says, hello from Docker. This message shows that your installation appears to be working correctly. So we know we have Docker up and running now. We'll move on. So continuing on with our Piccolo AI installation process, and now we're going to utilize this command as instructed. We'll pull the appropriate images for compiling for x86, ARM-GCC, and TensorFlow, and run those scripts. At long last, that's done. Those were involved because those were the container images for each of the compilation environments for the supported platforms that Piccolo AI can generate code for. So then we continue on with step 5. We'll pull the base code. And then we'll proceed with issuing the git command and starting up the service. Okay, with all of that setup having been accomplished, all that remains is to now switch over to our browser. We'll pull up the local host over port 8000 for the interface to the web application for Piccolo AI. And we see success. We have the login interface. We'll use the default username, which is piccolo@sensible.com. and the default password is tinyml for life. We plug both of those in, we hit login, and here we are. At long last, we have the Sensible development environment as implemented locally on our own PC using the Piccolo AI open source environment and Docker containers. So from here, we welcome you to consult the documentation for how to open, build, and download projects, and wish you the best in happy development of ML applications for your particular use case and sensors. And I hope you found this informative and helpful in getting up and running with the Piccolo AI application.